The path to 3 and 4 has been one of much doubt at times, amid rumours, poorly kept secrets, and finally, a marketing machine powered by a rat on one of those little wheels. But hey, we finally made it in the end, and I think that's what counts. And I had a lot of fun returning to the original Pro Skaters in preparation. However, I have been skeptical, like many of you, regarding some of the creative liberties taken in order to get us across the finish line. From my point of view, this game needs to accomplish two things: live up to or succeed the quality of the previous remake, as well as prepare the franchise for whatever the future may hold. So, let's see if they pulled it off. First things first, I want to say thanks to everyone who tuned in to watch me react to not getting the reveal trailer live on stream. Fun times, man. A record-breaking moment for the channel, all because someone failed to program the clock with a universal timer for the trailer to drop. Yeah, nice one, guys. Made me look like a total arse. Cheers, fellas. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. Thank you to everyone who donated. No refunds. I would also like to thank Activision for the review code. Unlike last time, I pre-ordered this collector's edition for myself. I was not given this for free, I just want to make that clear. However, because it was shipped to the wrong state, well, Acti hooked me up with a digital deluxe version as well, so that I didn't miss out on the early access period, so thanks for that. Also, shout out to my #1 fan, Mum, who made sure my collector's edition arrived in the end. I mentioned for 1 and 2 that this has got to be one of the greatest ideas for a special edition of any game. I mean, you get all the digital perks too, but I honestly couldn't care less. The real winner is getting a legit skateboard that you can set up to ride, something that I've been doing a bit more of lately with the last game's deck. So yeah, I am super pumped about getting another one of these things, but look, don't let that distract from the primary goal here: finding out if the game lives up to its presentation. Kick-ass intro as always to Motorhead's Ace of Spades, showing off the roster, and oh my god, this game is stacked to the gills with skaters. At first glance, this might actually be the franchise's largest roster of legitimate skaters, and looking into it further, yeah, it is, with a staggering 32, including my new love interest Andy Anderson and Bam Margera, a well-deserved last-minute inclusion. Although Bam is the only character whose bio doesn't say anything about his accomplishments, opting instead to reference the whole public outcry about his participation in the game, which is a bit cheeky if you ask me. Pro Skater 1+2 had a total of 21 pros, old and new, all who returned for this remake, while the earlier games seemed to max out around the 16 mark when it comes to real-world playable characters. God, I remember thinking that American Wasteland had a huge roster. The game also introduces guest star Felipe Nunez as an NPC, which is very cool. This dude shreds everything he touches. Not to mention, this is the first ever Pro Skater game to feature Olympic medalists, which makes me just so happy to be able to say that. Honestly, all the new guys and gals are a real treat. The title screen hits to Lupe Fiasco's Kick Push, which... oh, goddamn, what a welcome home this is for me. I know a lot of people are upset at the heavily altered soundtrack, but man, this classic from Downhill Jam got me all warm and fuzzy. While I waited for the game to fully install, I completed the tutorial in San Francisco, which looks gorgeous, and now that everything is available, it all looks very familiar. Creator Skater is something I was very interested to see what they could do with, given the prior game was passable, but nothing to write home about. But unfortunately it appears entirely untouched. There's still no glasses or accessory options, less hairstyles than the classic games, no body morphing, and no modifying most of the clothing options because it's all branded content. I'm sure there is more to buy here, but the volume of trashy and tacky Fortnite-inspired skins is out of place and honestly hard to look at, while the Crash 4 video filters are no better. I'm not saying Creator Skater is bad necessarily, but underwhelming? It absolutely is. So look, forget all that, we've already got plenty of characters to play. I think it's about time we drop in on the Foundry. Alright, now we're talking. Yeah, this is Def Pro Skater, and man, how nice is it to see some of these classic locations get their first ever revisit in franchise history. Sure, Canada, Airport and LA live up to their multitude of appearances and look better than ever, but seeing Rio as this stunning masterpiece of street art under the warm afternoon glow, Suburbia going all in on the spooky theming for Halloween is super cute, and Tokyo is just utterly breathtaking. Big tick for the visuals, but really, I expected nothing less. Skater Island, of course, is a top 10 out of the franchise, so I'm stoked to see it finally get its time to shine, although it has seen better days. The Real World Park, of course, was demolished following a roof collapse in 2004, so it's eerily weird playing it run down like this with the roof breaking apart if your airs are just too extreme. Look, I know the entire premise of each world in the game is that time has passed, but if you want to take that route, then why not just have the thing be a pile of rubble? Maybe leave the memories alone on some of these. For example, instead of stopping the criminal van in LA, now it's a self-driving car that's on the loose, which makes the game feel weirdly censored in a way. You know, we don't even get to crush it with the billboard, it just shuts off. And the guy in Canada taking a leak at the back of the level? Non-existing. Depending on your skater's discipline, you'll get to see some variation to objectives, just like the original, which is a nice touch, though I'll admit, I'm kind of baffled by the goals overall. Yes, it is a remake, but that doesn't mean they need to follow the blueprint one-to-one, and they don't always do that. Levels like Cruise Ship showcase this really well, as it's not just the small details, but some much more egregious changes to the goal of destroying the museum. In the original, we just had a simple grind and you win, right? Well, now this objective requires completion of 3 different skill checks, a grind around the hanging planters, a long manual, and a lip trick at the highest point on the map. Now, I'm not opposed to any of this in the slightest, and with multiple replays under my belt, the change has grown on me as it is a much grander final stage now, so the spectacle feels more deserved. So if they can do that, then why are score objectives not adjusted for difficulty? Let's look at the warehouse from the previous game, alright? A 6 score of 15,000 points from the original was just weak, so Vicarious Visions bumped the number to 100k, which fits much better with modern sensibilities. But you look at the Foundry and it's the exact same numbers. I find that kind of strange, and with stat points unlocked across every character, it's quickly way too easy leveling everyone to maximum ability, stripping them of their unique qualities. Sure, you can opt to not upgrade them, but I miss the approach of playing career mode, swapping characters out when it felt necessary to the situation, you know? It's a minor gripe, I guess, but just something that caught my attention. Moving on to Pro Skater 4 now, and that's been the big debate the entire time, right? How is this game going to play with the classic goals in the larger levels? During the lead up to release, the official account for the game made a post saying, "Who said there is no career mode?" completely ignoring the legitimate concerns regarding the drastic overhaul. For me, this was the most intriguing part of the game. Listen, I like THPS 4. For the time, but replaying it just isn't the same as an adult given the bloated and repetitive quests. So I guess let's just say that I was ready for a fresh take on that game. Well, I am extremely happy to report that for the most part, Iron Galaxy did an exceptional job with this. College as an opener really proves for me that this was the right decision. A solid opening level that feels stretched to its full potential with missions that call back to the original game, still representing that vibe, but presented in a much more digestible manner. It's honestly such a more refreshing experience for me. Not one location outstays its welcome, which is extra true given that I have just grinded all of these out very recently, so I'd otherwise be quite burned out. But no man, I'm still having a blast with this. It's nice to see the shipyard glow up with a lot more detail in the environment, and London has taken a page from the PS1 port, opting for a nighttime setting with rain, which really does a lot for this location. Sure, there may not be hoes fighting under the bridge or ghosts to play baseball with at Alcatraz, but you don't need it, man. At its core, I feel that this game proves classic objectives could have worked for the original after all these years. And on that note, not only have IG done well to adapt, but they have excelled in pushing the franchise into the future. Pro Skater 4's campaign includes the new additional levels original to this game, starting off with the movie studio for its first contest stage, and man, this was fucking awesome. This level flows incredibly well, especially when scoring high for a gold medal, with some very fun lines to discover, and also contains a secret sewer pipe you go down. Part of the promotion for Ninja Turtles, I guess, as we can also play as Michelangelo. And only Michelangelo. Okay, he's fun, but man, very brave to co-brand with TMNT, given that the last time they did that, well, it was Pro Skater 5. Oh, and on that note, where's SpongeBob? Despite the fact that there is also a little Bikini Bottom hidden area, there's no SpongeBob to be found. Yeah, okay. Anyway, moving on. Next up is the water park. Abandoned and dry to the bone, so perfect skate terrain for long grinds, manuals, huge airs, and crazy lip tricks. This level dominated the branding, which was a little concerning at first, but I can finally understand why, as they really cooked with this one. Dude, it is such an awesome stage. I think that whatever the future holds for the franchise, Iron Galaxy, if they can survive long enough, could create a new game potentially brimming with instant classics like this. And hey, that's still not all. We may not have Chicago or the Carnival, which is no great loss, but for completing the career mode, we get a pinball machine. Yeah, what another obvious choice for a special course. Like, duh, how did this never happen earlier on? You look at the sky and pray to God, please sir, help me land this fat combo, and then the man hits you with a multi-ball and bounces you all over the place. It's fucking excellent, guys. I even managed to hit this gnarly triple kickflip on the flippers while they were moving. Now that's the shit. And just as I was starting to lose faith in the game, late into 4's career mode, because man, it really falls off a cliff. It's mostly great, playing Alcatraz again, and Kona was built to be a competition stage, so I like that spawn points seem varied between each heat to allow you greater access to the large map on such a limited timer. But once you get to London, the cringe really seeps in. Rescuing Stompy was something I really didn't know how they were going to adapt into this game, and, well, they didn't. Instead, this mission just has you skitch a van to save some naked dude bro wearing an elephant mask. So between that and Jack Black returning as Constable Richard, who is a ninja police officer in these Gmod style cutscenes, the downturn is swift, let me tell you. It's just cringe. And if you stop to talk to this clown at any point, he shares this gem of wisdom.
Sorry, you'll need to give me a minute. I'm mentally preparing to do Hot Ones again.
Fuck right off with that. Now listen, ignoring that Jack Black has lost a lot of favour in the years since the previous game, making such a niche reference screams of desperation. Hey fellow kids type BS. Instead of Jack Black name-dropping Hot Ones, they should have had Mike V shout out the Nine Club. You know, something skateboarding related? And where is Vallely, by the way? I didn't see anyone kick up a stink about him maybe missing out on his spot. 4 was his debut to the franchise after all. Double standards, man. It shits me. So to follow all of that up with the zoo, or the bastardization of it, really left a stink in my mouth. You know how I mentioned that they like to age up the environments? Well, guess what? Stompy the elephant is fucking dead. Man, Nothing gets me hyped to skate like a dead elephant memorial gap and an abandoned zoo proving definitively that this level does and has always sucked major arse. Without the silly gags, each corner of the map presents an awkward dead end, and the level is clearly set up to keep you focused on this small area by the bridge. It's really disappointing, so thank God it was followed up by Pinball. Honestly, by the end, the original maps saved this career mode. So, where does that leave us? Well, look, I feel genuinely that despite some of the embarrassing additions and omissions, that the career mode for both of these games was still a lot of fun and definitely worth a play. I mean, it's Pro Skater after all, you can't really go wrong with that. Most of the time. But beyond the career mode, what else does the game have to offer us as far as replay value? At the end of the day, this feels like a DLC for 1+2, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, okay? Let me make that perfectly clear. More of a good thing is good. The additional Get There Gap challenges and extensive pros to players certainly make it a fun experience. There are also a litany of hidden collectibles like last time, and we've actually got a free camera mode which helps for hunting these down, but also makes great for snapping cool shots of your best tricks. And if you have any interest in solo tours, i.e. going through the game with each individual character again, well, these are unlockable only after fully finishing the game the first time through, which was an odd decision. Makes it feel very bloated at the back end. I know some people like doing these, but it's just not for me, and it's kind of a free-for-all with everything already unlocked, including max stats. Speedrun mode, on the other hand, is a lot of fun once again, but as I said last time, I wish that the leaderboards could track my times on this during normal gameplay, and the same is true here. There isn't really any need for this to be an entirely separate game mode, aside from preventing cheating. Thankfully, one positive I do have to offer is that following completion of both careers, new pro goals are unlocked, 5 for each stage, higher scores, harder gaps, and new combo lines. Oh, hey, look, that guy's back in Canada! Could this be the moment he finally takes a piss? No, I guess not. Even the competitions have new objectives to complete. That's really neat. I'm glad they gave us something extra here because I still want to play more of this game as it's a good time. But unfortunately, as I predicted, there are no pro exclusive missions like the original game. No loop gaps, no big bombs, no Musker beats, thank God, and no shopping cart down Alcatraz. In their absence, I have gotten big into the Get There challenges as they really test your knowledge of the terrain and skill at core mechanics. But there is one fatal error. No set respawn option. I failed to mention this in my Pro Skater 4 Revisit episode because, well honestly, it's not something that I ever took advantage of much. But now I fully understand. Having to slog back to a starting position every time you fail is a brutal punishment when this feature should have been included here. And last but not least, let's talk about Create a Park. This mode has mostly just been ported over with very little in the way of new objects to use, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're willing to sit down and spend some time with it, then you can create some wild shit. Though, because it's required to dump junk into a space and upload a park for achievements and trophies, well, once again, we gotta deal with the bloat of complete garbage flooding the home screen. But turning a blind eye to that, people have already started porting other classic maps over from other games with varying success. So to do my part and contribute, I tried my hand at recreating the Bull Ring from Pro Skater 2. It took me about 2.5 hours, but man, the end product is something that I'm really proud of, so definitely go check that out. Custom maps are available across every platform this time around, which is awesome to see, so there is no excuse. Try the map for yourself and give it an upvote. Let's see if we can rule the top rated levels once again for this game. But maybe the biggest new returning feature across the entire game for the first time since Underground 2 is custom objectives. These are only for created parks, but I love that this is back and really helps to make each level feel more unique in how it can be played. So hats off to the fellas at Iron Galaxy for getting this one right. So, my closing thoughts. Look, I want to start off by getting the bad stuff out of the way. Creator Skater's return fell on deaf ears with no major improvements. The special trick list is much the same with barely any new or fun additions. And the big one, certain changes made to the core experience in some cases leave parts of the game feeling a bit too corporate or cringe for my taste. But in saying that, this game achieved the goals I set for it. It lived up to 1 and 2 in a major way, succeeding it just barely thanks to the incredible original content we were blessed with, proving that there is still definitely a future for these games if Activision decides to finally bite the bullet. And as a remake of 2 beloved classics, it succeeds at its recreation and reimagining them for a modern platform, making these iconic skate spots accessible for an entirely new generation of players. So I think we're going to give Pro Skater 3 and 4 a 7 out of 10 for its competent follow-up to what was a game that I hold very dearly. It was such a special time for me, man, so just getting to relive even that, jumping online again and tearing things up with friends is all these games ever needed to be. From here on out though, please, no more remakes. It's time for a new game. Iron Galaxy have proven totally capable, so give them the reins. Let's see Pro Skater 6. Or Pro Skater 5 Redemption. I don't know, just give me a new game, goddammit! Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Square Eye Jack, and I hope you have a great fucking day. Cheers, guys.